in the Nanfeng middle-class academy of Tianshu district of Daxia Empire, a duel was taking place in the arena. Students were cheering for Li Lu, a handsome guy. Seeing this, the opponent, Zhao Kuo, became jealous and rushed toward Li Luo. But Li Luo evaded using his swallowbird footwork technique, which was a low-level skill, but was really hard for anyone to master it. But Zhao Kuo used his manifestation as an illusionary figure of a silver bear appeared behind him. He then sliced at Li Luo, as Li Luo's wooden sword was cut in half, and thus Li Luo admitted his defeat. Surrounding onlookers were discussing how, if it weren't for the fact that Li Luo was unable to manifest his spirit, Zhao Kuo would never win. And it sucked for a young man like Li Luo to be so intelligent, but not to have any manifestation. But they also said that heaven was fair, as Li Luo, despite being unable to use manifestation, was the young lord of Luolan City, one of the 5 great cities in Daxia. And the onlookers also gossiped about how Li Luo's parents were Daxia's youngest lord, with immense manifestation power. However, it was revealed that his parents went missing in the Noble War 3 years ago, which resulted in Li Luo being farther and farther away from his rightful seat of Luo City's lord. When Li Luo was attentive to this gossip, Jiang Kuo consoled him, and said that he wouldn't be able to beat him without manifestation power. Li Luo said it was not like Jiang Kuo broke the rules, as who could blame Li Luo for being the only one not to have any manifestation at all? The referee Xu Shanyue, who was also a teacher in the academy, also pitied Li Luo, as he thought that Li Luo might surpass his parents, if not for his disability of manifesting spirit. In this world, people gradually get stronger by absorbing energy through their spirit manifestation, and human beings' manifestation has many forms, but is divided into 2 common types: elemental manifestation and primal beast manifestation. Elemental manifestations is absorbing different kinds of elemental energies, and the type of energy one absorbs depends on one's elemental type of manifestation, and the primal beast manifestation is when people have primal beasts as their manifestation. According to the legend, ancient warriors merged the soul of the primal beasts with elemental manifestation to gain greater power, which birthed the era of primal beast manifestation. And the manifestation is also divided into 9 ranks, where the lowest was the 1st grade and the highest was the 9th grade. When a human reaches 10 years old, a cavity called Manifestation Hollow opens up to store energy, and the type of energy determines the manifestation one had. And ever since Li Luo's Manifestation Hollow opened, no signs of his manifestation appeared. He was labeled as one of the very few people that had no manifestation. Thus, the Nanfeng First Academy's Manifestation Master demoted Li Luo to the Nanfeng Second Academy. But Li Luo knew that he was different from others with no manifestation. Normally, people would have only 1 manifestation hollow, and later on, when one steps into the Lord position, they would manifest a 2nd hollow, and lastly, when they reach the King rank, they would gain the 3rd hollow. But King rank is very rare even in the mighty Daxia country. But the thing that made Li Luo unique was the fact that his body contained 3 manifestation hollows instead of 1, which was never heard of. And the most bemusing thing was that all his 3 manifestations were empty. In the arena, teacher Xu Shanyue said that they would start the most important part of the exam the next month, which would determine if they could get into prestigious higher academies. Thus, everyone was told to train their manifestation even harder. Li Luo bade goodbye to his buddy Jiang Kuo and went towards his home. Li Luo wasn't bothered by his defeat as he had been used to it for so very long. When leaving the academy gate, he noticed that students were causing a commotion at the wall of fame of the academy. Soon he saw the source of the commotion, a girl named Jiang Ching, the Pearl of Nanfeng Academy, who was already scouted by Xuanxing Higher Academy even before completing her exams, for she had a 9th-ranked light manifestation. She was a very well-known figure in Daxia country. But this woman, who has a high fan base regardless of men and women, was the disciple of Li Luo's parents, and was also the fiancée of Li Luo. The first time Li Luo saw Jiang Ching was probably when he was around 3 years old. At that time, his parents brought the 5-year-old Jiang Ching with them. Later on, they took Jiang Ching as their disciple. Jiang Ching has been outstanding in strength ever since, and with her being the older one, a lot of arguments would result in Li Luo being beaten up by her. Apparently it was around when Jiang Ching was 10 years old that Li Luo's father drank too much, and said that he would be extremely happy if Jiang Ching was his daughter-in-law. But on the next day, the 10-year-old Jiang Ching wrote an engagement letter and handed it to Li Luo's tongue-tied father. Thus, Li Luo and his father got beaten silly by his mother. After that, his mother tried to make Jiang Ching take back the engagement, but Jiang Ching was stubborn and swore never to break off the engagement. His parents, thus, could only accept the engagement and never brought up the topic again. A few years ago, when Jiang Feng was at the Nanfeng Academy, Jiang Ching publicly exposed her engagement with Li Luo to get rid of her crazy amount of pursuers. But luckily, Li Luo was absent from the academy that day, and thus wasn't beaten by the crazy mob. On the way to his home, Li Luo also encountered Difa Qing from Difa family, one of the 3 main families of Tianshu district. She again pestered Li Luo to break off the engagement with Jiang Ching, and said that if he didn't break off, then many fans of Jiang Ching would pick a fight with him. Thus, Li Luo asked, who's going to pick a fight with him? She said that Bei Kun from Bei family wanted to meet him in 2 days. Li Luo then asked if it was the same Bei Kun that was his lackey few years ago. Difa Qing nodded and said that since Luo family was powerful back then, it was natural for Bei Kun to suck up to him. But now that his parents were missing and he had no manifestation, it became quite easy for people to bully him, so he should be careful and break off with Jiang Ching. Just at that moment, a carriage pulled by 4 red horse beasts stopped in front of them, and out of it came out Jiang Ching, who told Li Luo to get back to the Luolan city, as they had a very important matter to discuss about. She also informed Li Luo that his 17th birthday was approaching. And before they left, Jiang Ching asked Difa Qing to stop bothering Li Luo to break off the engagement. But she didn't listen, and was just fascinated by Jiang Ching. When the duo came back to their mansion, Jiang Ching apologized on behalf of her fans, as they caused trouble for him. But Li Luo didn't buy her sweet shit, and said if she was really sincere, then she should agree to break off the engagement. But she asked if he was afraid of the engagement. Li Luo didn't admit it, but said that he might hold her back from her bright future, as he was just a manifestationless trash, and also advised to look for a husband that also had a 9th-ranked manifestation like her. But she said that she was already engaged, and couldn't have feelings for other men. Li Luo shouted, saying he knew that she was very grateful to his parents for raising an orphan like her, but she couldn't just make him a tool to repay her gratitude. She apologized again, and said that though she hadn't thought of his feelings, they could resolve their disagreement according to the family rules, which was for both parties to fight in a duel. Li Luo was dumbfounded, as he knew that he was just a weakling at beginner rank, and human cultivation starts at beginner rank, then master rank, general rank, lord rank, and then king rank, and the rank of Jiang Ching was at the lower level of general rank, so it was impossible for Li Luo to even touch her if she fought. He then said that if there was no romantic feeling or love, then they had no reason to stay engaged, and if she really wanted to repay the favor of his parents, then she could help Li Luo gain control over his rightful seat as the lord of the city. Then if she succeeded, then she could decide about the engagement. In reply, she asked Li Luo if he really disliked her that much. Li Luo replied, saying it would be a lie to say that he didn't like her, but he didn't need this kind of engagement. She got angry and smacked the table but calmed down and said that she accepted the deal, but added that he would need to defeat her if he ever wanted to cancel his engagement. And the first step would be to be able to join Xuanxing Academy. But if he can't even do that, then she would just pretend that this conversation never happened. After that, Li Luo was told that they needed to visit the Golden Dragon Treasury, where his parents left something for Li Luo, and told Jiang Ching to give it to him after he reached 17. The Golden Treasury is a neutral force that even the royal palace of Dazia doesn't dare to provoke. And in the entire Dazia country, only Xuanxing Academy was as respected as the Golden Dragon Treasury. The treasury works like a bank as it receives and stores precious items, along with holding auctions in the country. And surprisingly, the Golden Treasury in Dazia was just a small branch of the entire Golden Dragon Group spread across the continent. Soon they arrived at the castle of the Golden Dragon Treasury branch of Dazia, which seemed to be even grander than the royal palace. After they entered the walls of the treasury, they saw Manager Lu welcoming them. He then escorted Li Luo through many locked doors to the vaults where the item left by his parents were kept. Manager Lu told Li Luo that the item needed fresh blood from Li Luo to be unlocked. Thus, Li Luo cut a small wound on his finger as he dropped the blood on the small vault, which immediately unlocked the box as a small orb appeared in front of Li Luo. As Li Luo and Jiang Ching were about to leave with the orb, they were introduced to the niece of manager Lu, who wanted to see Jiang Ching in person. Then, the blue-haired girl greeted Jiang Ching and also introduced herself as Ching Er, a student of Nanfeng Academy. Jiang Ching asked if she knew Li Luo too since she studied in the same school. Ching Er replied positively and said that she used to learn martial techniques from Li Luo a few years ago. But in recent years, Li Luo hid from her and never showed up. Then Li Luo explained to Jiang Ching that he was teaching her because, at that time, he was the top student and had no ulterior motive. Before they left, the manager Lu again told them to ask for anything if they needed any financial help. When the duo left, the manager asked his niece if she was attracted to Li Luo. Ching Er then said that she just feels sorry for him since Li Luo would definitely be a heaven-defying genius if not for his empty hollows. Manager Lu was satisfied with her answer and said that with her talent, there would be no fewer suitors for her. When they returned to their Luolan city mansion, they were greeted by Uncle Lu, the butler who also takes care of Li Luo's daily necessities. Jiang Ching also returned the greetings and introduced a woman called Miss Wei to Li Luo as the female butler of Jiang Ching. He was told that for a period of time, Miss Wei would stay at Nanfeng City to take care of some of their family business in the Tianshu district and would report back to Li Luo from then on. In the hall, Li Luo asked Jiang Ching why she suddenly assigned a person to look after the business. She replied, saying that among the 5 cities of Daxia, Luolan City rose up the quickest, due to Li Luo's parents, Lord Lan and Lady Tan Tai Lan, becoming the youngest Lord-ranked manifester. But after the disappearance of his parents, it was evidence of how unstable the economic foundation of such a fast-growing city was. Thus, many forces were eyeing the city from both the outside and inside, which resulted in the loss of many businesses. But this time, the threat came not from outside, but from inside. It came from Pei Hao, who was rescued from the streets and was taken as a disciple by Li Luo's parents. And after getting the disciple status, his power rose in the Luo city very quickly. In the last few years, Pei Hao had attempted many times to take over the lord position of the city. But things got out of hand real quick when Pei Hao became desperate and got help from many outside forces. And the next day, Pei Hao was going to hold a meeting with her, which might result in the split of the city. Li Luo knew that these problems would have never occurred if he had been stronger. Thus, he went back to his room and inspected the orb left by his parents. After a while of touching the orb, Li Luo saw that the orb began to float as the illusory figure of his parents came into being. He then saw his mom and dad talking in the hologram. They said that if Li Luo had opened up the orb, then it must mean that he was 17 years old. Then, they said that they knew about his hollow manifestation even before he was 10 years old. As such, they sought many methods that could help Li Luo recover his hollow manifestation. His dad then told him that it was not a curse to be born with a hollow manifestation. Instead, it was a blessing for him, as he could forcefully absorb and copy the manifestation of other creatures and fill the empty hollow. They then said that heaven doesn't fail those who are patient, as they have found a way to solve this problem with an ancient art called no manifestation godly art, which not only let him choose what kind of manifestation he wanted, but would also grant him the ability to have 2 elements in a single manifestation. Whereas the natural innate manifestation only has 1 kind of element, which made Li Luo excited, meaning he could have fire as his primary and lightning as his secondary element. His mom then said that even the creator of this godly technique would never think that someone like Li Luo, who had 3 empty hollows, would ever exist. This would make it possible for Li Luo to have 6 times more manifestation elements than an ordinary manifester. But his dad warned that the hollows that he gains with the help of this art would not exceed grade 4. Li Luo was a bit disappointed since grade 4 was too low, whereas his own fiancée had a grade 9 manifestation. But his mom encouraged him, saying there are many methods to raise the grades of the manifestations. One of the most common ways is to use holy water made by alchemists. However, those holy water could only raise one's grade by 1 or 2 ranks. But Dad said that the limitation of using holy water didn't apply to him since he would use artificial manifestations, and his hollows were just empty with nothing in it. But nothing could also be infinite, meaning his hollows would have no limit in their quality, theoretically at least. In other words, empty manifestation could become the strongest manifestation in the world, surpassing grade 9 if given enough time to be upgraded with holy water. They then said that they had already made the first manifestation for him after taking some of his life essences when he was a child, and the manifestation was stored in the watercolored orb along with the no manifestation art. Li Luo was happy and thanked his mom and dad, but his dad told him that this godly technique had a side effect, which was when a new manifestation was absorbed in his body, it would consume his blood essence to replicate the new manifestations, and the loss in blood essence would reduce his lifespan. And this was the reason for waiting till he was 17, since at this time, his blood essence would be strongest and would be able to handle the absorption and the replication process. But even then, his lifespan would be reduced to only 5 years if he chose to manifest, and only by increasing his cultivation to the Lord rank would he be able to prolong his life. Li Luo was worried hearing that. Then they asked him if he wanted to risk his life by trading on the path of the strong, or just wanted to enjoy the wealth they left for him. And if he chose the former, then he would need to place his palm on the orb again, and if he chose to stay as he was, then he just needed to leave the orb alone, as it would self-destruct. Li Lu was in a dilemma, as it would be extremely difficult to become a lord in just 5 years. As in the history of Daxia, he never heard about people reaching lord rank just at the age of 22. But he would never turn down the chance, even if it was slim. Thus, he chose the much more difficult path, and touched the orb with his palm. After that, he saw the artificial manifestation that his father and mother made, along with the scroll that recorded the no manifestation art. Then his parents told him that if he was still listening to them, that meant he chose to become a lord-ranked manifester in 5 years. Mother Tan Tailan then told him that the manifestation they chose was of grade 4, with 2 elements, water and light. Li Luo was disappointed since the water element was weak in combat. But Mr. Lan told him that the water element has tenacity exceeding all other manifestations. Not to mention that the water combined with light elements could result in miracles that would exceed human imagination. And one of the reasons for making the water and light element manifestation as his first was that it would be able to heal his body after he absorbed and replicated the artificial manifestation. And the second reason was that it would be able to make him a peerless alchemist, which would help him in his own cultivation, as he would be able to create holy water flawlessly with the help of both water and the holy light element, since alchemists only have light or water element, making him the only one possessing both criteria to become an alchemist. Later, they warned Li Luo not to attempt to absorb and copy the second manifestation before reaching master rank, and told him that the last part of no manifestation art was hidden in Wangtown. And when he was strong enough to gain his third manifestation, he could go there and take it. They also told him not to worry about them, as they were not dead, and to never look for them before he reached Lord rank. Li Luo wiped his tears and assimilated with the new manifestation. Then the next thing he knew was the voice of Miss Wei calling him from outside of the room, as she informed him from outside that the 9 clan elders had arrived, and Jiang Ching told him to get ready. But Li Luo didn't pay attention to that, and felt that his body was extremely weak, as though he had aged several years. Even his hair turned gray as the vitality was sucked out. But the white hair made him much more attractive than in the past. Then he noticed that one of the empty hollows was filled with blue light that had gentle and holy energy radiating. He knew that the gentle energy must be coming from the water attribute, and the holy energy was from the light attribute. A while later, he got ready and opened the door as he welcomed the new phase of his life. In the Luo Lan Mansion Hall, there was a round table with 10 chairs in it, and there were 2 chairs more magnificent than the other chairs, which were reserved for Jiang Ching and Li Luo. Pei Hao and the 3 elders that he had won over sat on the right side, while on the other side sat 4 elders that supported Jiang Ching. In contrast, the 2 neutral elders sat in the middle. Angry, Pei Hao stood up and asked Jiang Ching why Li Luo wasn't there yet, and said that even his master Lan and mistress Tailan wouldn't let the elders wait for this long. But Jiang Ching said that Pei Hao wouldn't even dare to speak if his master was there. At that time, the white-haired Li Luo appeared as he mocked Pei Hao, saying his parents would be proud seeing the disciple that they raised. Pei Hao then mocked him back after seeing his gray hair, and asked if Li Luo had already become old, worrying about his mother and father, and added that it wouldn't be good if Li Luo died without becoming the lord. Hearing it, Jiang Ching then warned Pei Hao, saying he shouldn't be talking crap about the young lord. When the meeting started, Jiang Ching revealed how Pei Hao didn't give a single penny to the city vault. But he said that their 3 cabinets were set on fire, thus weren't able to give back to the city. But Jiang Ching didn't buy his bullshit thus. Pei Hao said that they wouldn't give any money to the city vault from this year onwards either. He said if they wanted the money, then he could give it in one condition, which was for Jiang Ching to cancel the engagement with Li Luo. This sentence made Jiang Ching angry as she rushed toward Pei Hao. But Pei Hao's cultivation was stronger since he was much older. However, he was still pushed back due to the 9th-ranked manifestation of Jiang Ching. Angered, Li Luo asked if Pei Hao never worried that his parents would come back and teach him a lesson. But Pei Hao said that his master and mistress, unfortunately, wouldn't be able to come back, and said that to protect the city, the lord of the city cannot be as weak as Li Luo, and also said that his actions were justified as no matter what Pei Hao did, his masters never recognized him nor spoke of him in front of anyone. He then said that everyone in the hall, including the elders, was not a match for him in cultivation, except Jiang Ching, since Pei Hao was a high-level general-ranked manifester, whereas every elder in the hall was low-level general-ranked. He then showed the token of Grand Elder Mo Tu, meaning that he gained the support of one of the 2 Grand Elder Tu. In the Luo family city, in addition to the 9 elders, there were 3 Grand Elders who were at the peak level of general rank. Those 3 Grand Elders were always neutral and would only take action when the city was in danger. However, surprisingly, one of the Grand Elders chose to pick sides and also chose the traitor Pei Hao. Pei Hao then said that Master Lan, Li Luo's dad, said that if any clan member could get the support of 2 Grand Elders, then they could compete for the seat of the city lord at the ancestral ceremony, and whoever wins the match would become the next lord. Then he left with his 3 elders, and one by one, others also left after Jiang Ching discussed some matters with the remaining elders. When the duo was the only one left in the hall, Jiang Ching comforted him, saying she would take care of Pei Hao while he should just focus on the final exam. Li Luo then asked for her hand, and when she touched his hand, she felt manifestation power in Li Luo, which made her very happy. Then Li Luo asked if Jiang Ching also thought that his parents were alive. Jiang Ching said that with the strength of Master Lan and Lady Tai Lan, it would be strange if they weren't alive. Then, she told Li Luo that she would return to the academy and expected that he would be in Xuanxing Academy the next time she saw him. The next day, Li Luo went to Miss Wei, who manages the pill shops of the Li Luo family. Li Luo then asked for a grade 4 holy water from her. When she asked how much he needed, he said 50 bottles, which surprised Miss Wei. Miss Wei was hesitant as 1 bottle of grade 4 holy water costs 1,000 gold, and 50 would cost 50,000, which is 1/6 of the current annual revenue of the Luo business. She was also worried that Li Luo would try to drink all 50 bottles of holy water in desperation to manifest his hollow, which would in turn hurt him as the holy water had a lot of impurities regardless of who made it. Nonetheless, she had to comply since she was told to give Li Luo what he wanted by Jiang Ching. When he went to the library of the Luo mansion, he ordered the librarian to gather all the energy guiding techniques. He found 28 beginner-level energy guidance techniques and only 6 general-level techniques. The techniques are divided into 4 levels and are beginner rank, general rank, lord rank, and king rank. These cultivation techniques help one reach the corresponding ranks and were so rare that only a few middle-class forces possessed general-level energy guiding techniques. And as for the king-level techniques, if it ever appears, it would surely cause massive war among countries. And the Luolan family had 2 lord-level techniques left by Li Luo's family, but those lord-level techniques were not important to Li Luo since he was just at the beginner level. Next, Li Luo browsed through them and looked for techniques that were suitable for his water and light manifestation. Then he filtered out only 3 techniques, and then chose a technique named Cold Source Meditation Chart from the 3 techniques. He didn't choose any more as the more techniques meant, the more time he would need to invest, and he could just change the technique with a better technique anytime. Then he went to the basement of the city mansion to a training room where his parents and Jiang Ching used to train. When he entered the room, he sensed the dense energy, which was very suitable for cultivation. And the training room was not cheap either, as it took hundreds of thousands of gold to build. When he practiced the cold source technique, he felt the pores of his body hungrily devouring the surrounding energy. His water energy was strongest, but there was also a bit of light energy mixed in. The 2 energies followed in his blood veins and settled in his hollow as a shining blue light. After practicing the whole night, he began feeling sharp pains in his energy flow, meaning he has reached his bodily limit for that period. His manifestation power reached level 3 of beginner rank, and he was confident that he could raise it to level 5 within a week. But that wouldn't be enough to get into the academy. Just at that time, he was informed that Miss Wei sent the 50 bottles of holy water to his room. When he went back to his room, he saw the holy water, each bottle shining with light. This holy water was of grade 4 and had 58% effectiveness. The purer that light is in the holy water, the fewer impurities it contains. But these impurities didn't faze him with his empty hollows. Thus, he emptied out the holy water bottles one by one and found out that he would need another 100 or so bottles to be able to upgrade his manifestation to grade 5. And if his calculation is correct, then he would need holy water worth 1,000,000 gold to raise his grade of manifestation to level 6 from level 5. The total income of Luolan City was only a few million golds. He was afraid that even selling his body wouldn't be enough to upgrade his manifestation in the future. Nonetheless, he resumed his training, and after 2 days, his grade 4 water and light manifestation became much purer. But to his dismay, the bottles were all finished. The next day, Miss Wei was inspecting all the businesses of Luo City and found out that the situation got even worse as the other 3 families in the Tianshu district were targeting their businesses. When she dismissed the shopkeepers, she saw Li Luo coming in as he asked her again for 100 more holy water, making her scream in anger. So, Li Luo explained to her some made-up bullshit, and he said that his parents taught him a technique that could finally let him recover his hollow manifestation, and the technique needed holy water as its base energy source. And surprisingly, Miss Wei believed it, and was very happy to hear it, and thus agreed to give him another 100 bottles of holy water. For the next few days, Li Luo spent all his time enhancing his manifestation grade and cultivating energies to power up. And on the last day of the week, his manifestation finally upgraded to 5th grade. And as for his cultivation, it also reached the 5th level of the beginner rank. Then he went back to the Nanfeng Academy, and everyone was shocked to see his new hair color. At noon, Li Luo found out that Bei Kun from the Nanfeng First Academy was provoking and beating students from their Nanfeng Second Academy, including Zhao Kun. Zhao Kun warned Li Luo that Bei Kun must be looking for him. But Li Luo wasn't afraid, and also didn't want others to be implicated in his own conflict. At the north of the Nanfeng Academy was a great big tree. Each of its leaves was big and strong enough to let a student sit on it and cultivate energy much faster than other places. The tree leaves only bloom for half a day, and the leaves of the tree are classified in 3 colors: golden, silver, and bronze. And only 10 golden leaves were distributed to the Nanfeng Second Academy, and most of the golden leaves were occupied by the Nanfeng First Academy. Many students jumped on the tree leaves as soon as they bloomed, followed by the bell that rang from the top of the tree. Li Luo didn't have the right to go to the golden leaves, and thus could only go to the silver leaves. But when Li Luo was planning to jump into a silver leaf, he met Bei Kun from the Be family, who mocked him for hiding, and also insulted the Nanfeng Second Academy for not being able to defeat him. But Li Luo didn't get provoked, and told Bei Kun that if the Bi family was really that powerful, then they should just go to Luolan's family to compete. Then the teacher from the First Academy rebuked Li Luo's behaviors for using his family power to intimidate smaller families like Bei Kun. But the teacher from the Second Academy rebuked, saying it was Bei Kun who provoked Li Luo first. The teacher from the First Academy of Nanfeng then asked the headmaster of Nanfeng to allocate 5 more golden leaves to the First Academy, as the leaves weren't enough for their First Academy students. Thus, the teachers from the First and the Second Academy began arguing. Then, the headmaster said that the teachers could decide by letting the students compete, and whoever lost would have to give up their golden leaves. But the teacher from the Second Academy, Xu Shanyue, said that their academy only had 2 level 6 of beginner rank students, and would be impossible to beat the First Academy that got fat by training in the golden leaves. So, headmaster said that the bet would only last till the exam, and it would be the same from the next year. Thus, Xu Shanyue gathered all of the students of the Second Academy and briefed them about the events which made the students angry. Teacher Xu Shan then called out the 2 6th-level students, Zhao Kun and Yuan Chu. Then he hesitatingly called out Li Luo and said that he could use his outstanding battle instincts to tire down the opponent, which would later help Zhao Kun and Yuan Chu to win some spots. Li Luo wanted to stay low for a while, but it seems he needed to show off a bit for the golden leaves, which could fasten his cultivation. Students from all the academies gathered to watch. Even Qing Er came to watch as she stayed at one of the golden leaves. Then Song Yunfeng came and said that Li Luo, who didn't have any manifestation, was also attending the competition, and also added that their first academy was sending 3 best 6th-level beginner students. Thus, it would be very hard for the second academy to even win. Song Yun was annoyed at Li Luo, as even with his hollow talent, he was able to persist so long and was able to catch the attention of Qing Er. On the first battle, Li Luo was sent against a black-haired guy, but unexpectedly, the loser of Li Luo beat the guy senselessly as he was thrown out of the arena. Many students below the arena thought that it was Li Luo who was thrown out as they were unable to see clearly. But they learnt the hard truth, as the 6th-ranked beginner manifester was the one thrown out, not the trash Li Luo. Some thought that Li Luo used his family money to bribe the opponent, and some thought that Li Luo used some underhanded tricks. But Qing Er saw it clearly, and knew that Li Luo was using his strength, not any tricks. But Song Yunfeng said that it was not possible for a miracle to happen twice in a row. Even the teacher from the first academy thought that Li Luo took advantage of the opponent's underestimation. Thus, they were sure that Li Luo would not be able to win again. Next opponent was Lu Tai, with 5th-grade fire manifestation. Lu Tai was more careful and used his trump cards from the start, and Li Luo kept dodging them. In the end, Lu Tai threw his strongest skill, which forced Li Luo to use his water ability. Dense fog covered the arena as the fire and water clashed, and amidst the fog came the wooden bat of Li Luo slamming towards Lu Tai as he fell on the ground injured. Everyone was surprised as this time Lu Tai didn't underestimate Li Luo, but still lost. Then the headmaster said that Li Luo awakened a water manifestation. Even Qing Er was praising Li Luo, which made Song Yunfeng very jealous. The first academy teacher didn't believe Li Luo was that talented and said that he must be using some forbidden dark arts. But the headmaster said that in the continent, there are very few natural treasures that could grant a blank hollow person a manifestation. Thus, it was not necessarily evil technique. In the last battle, Li Luo faced Bei Kun. Bei Kun also used his strongest skill with his 6th-grade manifestation talent. But Li Luo blocked it with an advanced manifestation art called Imperial Waves. Everyone knew that it was an extremely difficult art to comprehend. Soon after, Bei Kun also used his trump card, and just as he was about to pierce through Li Luo's shoulder, Li Luo dodged and smacked the head of Bei Kun. But the jealous Song Yun said that Li Luo's manifestation would at most be at 6th grade, and isn't that impressive since he was just at the 5th level of beginner rank. Then the headmaster called Li Luo and congratulated him. Then he announced the date of the preliminary exam and also told the students the new requirements to get in the Xingxuan Academy. Everyone was shocked as they didn't think that they would have to be at 7th grade to be able to get in the Xuan Academy, as the previous requirements were much simpler. Even Li Luo was a bit shocked and felt like he needed to speed up his growth. After a while, Qing Er came to visit him and said that she would wait for the day when he would be able to defeat her and reclaim his #1 position in the Nanfeng Academy like a man with real balls. Li Luo said he would try his best. After Qing Er left, Li Luo noticed that Song Yun was staring at him intensely from upstairs. When Li Luo asked the bastard what he wanted, the bastard told him to stay away from Qing Er. The new admission requirement of Xuan Academy worried Li Luo a bit, so he needed to upgrade his 5th-level manifestation to the 6th level to increase his cultivation efficiency. Thus, he needed to have a long chat with Miss Wei, as the number of holy water bottles he needed this time was immense. When he reached at Miss Wei's office, he saw Miss Wei stretching her bones, which almost got him a boner. And after a long chat with Miss Wei, Li Luo showed her his 5th-grade water manifestation, which shocked the tits out of her. He also added that his manifestation would disappear if he wasn't constantly fed with holy water. Thus, he sought for a dozen 5th-grade holy water. Miss Wei knew what he wanted and agreed, but said that if his requirements kept increasing by the day, then they would have to go bankrupt very soon. But she said that she was willing to sell the properties of Luo family if it could make Li Luo stronger. Li Luo was only able to thank her for her words, but asked if she could take Li Luo to the place where holy water is produced. Miss Wei agreed, and told him to visit her the next day. The next day, the first academy handed over 10 golden leaves to the second academy, as they lost the bet. Everyone was very grateful to Li Luo, for he had just won them a chance to get on the golden leaves. Halfway the lesson, Li Luo took leave from the class from teacher Shan Yue, as he needed to visit Miss Wei again today. In the room, Miss Wei was drinking tea as she invited him for lunch. In the dinner table, Miss Wei told him that their Luo Medicine Hall makes a very large amount of profit every year, which made Pei Hao plot many schemes against the medicine hall. He even replaced the vice president to try and get a bite of the juicy meat, which affected the sales of the medicine hall this year. Li Luo's heart throbbed hearing the traitor's name. But what could he do against Pei Hao, who was a high-level general? Then they got on the carriage and soon reached the medicine hall of Luo family, which was located at the north of the city. Li Luo was then introduced to the current spokesperson of this branch of their medicine hall. The girl with black hair was Jiang Ching, the president of the medicine hall, an outstanding student from the Xuan Academy who was a grade 4 alchemist. Not only that, but she was also a close friend of Jiang Ching. Then Li Luo got to know Vice President Zhuang Yi, who works under Pei Hao. When Miss Yang Lin asked what brought them to her medicine hall, Miss Wei told Li Luo to show his water ability, which surprised Yan Lin. Li Luo then said that he wanted to learn about alchemy, as it would suit his water ability the best. But Yan Lin told him to worry about the final exam first. Then after the exam, he could learn alchemy. But Li Luo insisted. Thus Yan Lin gave Li Luo a couple of thick-ass books to read. But surprisingly, the books didn't faze Li Luo as he started to memorize and understand the contents of the books. In another room of the medicine hall, the vice president Zhuang Yi was scheming and keeping note of every action Li Luo made. He was waiting for years to take over the medicine hall and demote Yan Lin. In the president's office, Li Luo finally finished the books as he rubbed his forehead. Yan Lin then brought him to the alchemy lab, where she showed him how to use the water element to refine holy water. She informed him that every herb should be used with accurate measurements, and after all the herbs were put in, they would need to condense the essence of the herb through water ability. He also got to know that the element of one's manifestation and its grade plays a huge role in making a high-quality, higher-grade holy water. She also said that Jiang Ching could make far better holy water with her 9th-grade light manifestation. What surprised him the most was the fact that a bottle of holy water could only be made by a single alchemist. And getting help from different alchemists to make the same bottle of much purer holy water would just result in a conflict. Li Luo knew that this could be his biggest advantage, as his hollow manifestation had the characteristics of neutrality and wouldn't conflict even if someone else modified his alchemy ingredients. In the following days, Li Luo was diligent and cultivated in the golden room of the city mansion, and the remaining time was spent learning how to become a first-grade alchemist. As time went by, Li Luo could feel that he was becoming stronger by the day, and just before the mock exam, his water light manifestation was halfway to the 6th grade. At the Nanfeng Academy mock test, only 20 people would be selected and would be able to participate in Xuan Academy's admission test. A huge screen with magical writings appeared on the wall of fame that described the ranking of the match participants. Li Luo won very fast in his battle, but Song Yunfeng was very angry at Li Luo for stealing not only his limelight, but also his crush, Cheng Er. After the battle, Li Luo visited the medicine hall again, where he met Zhuang Yi, who told him that President Yan Ling was young and inexperienced, and if Li Luo wanted, then he could teach him instead. Li Luo thanked him and said that the president's refinement room was always lacking materials, and since it was the vice president's duty to purchase the materials, he should try to replenish them. Zhuang Yi was dumbfounded by the counter-question from Li Luo, and said that he would look into this matter in the future. When Li Luo left, Zhuang Yi ordered his lackey to send a letter to Pei Hao, and also to rush the process of taking over the first-grade refinement room. Soon, Li Luo was able to know about the fact that Zhuang Yi was trying to take over the first-grade refinement room by showing off a first-grade talented disciple. And it didn't take long, as Zhuang Yi barged in the room and said that the production of holy water had significantly dropped from the medicine hall in recent months. Yan Lin said it was because Vice President Zhuang Yi wasn't able to buy materials that such a thing happened. In reply, he said that the alchemists care more about efficiency than the ingredients, and the alchemists trained by Miss Yan Lin can reach 50% efficiency at most. Then, he showed his disciple Shi Yi, who could make first-grade pills with 56% efficiency. Then Shi Yi said that he would reach more efficiency if he could use the first-grade refinement room as his personal refinement room. But at that time, Li Luo showed up a bottle of holy water and claimed that it had 60% efficiency. Miss Yan Lan was surprised. Then she inspected it and said that it indeed had 60% efficiency. As such, Zhuang Yi left in dismay as his big plan failed even before it started. The next day when Li Luo went to the academy for the mock test, he was warned by Zhao Kun that he was matched against Yu Long, who reached 7th level of beginner rank and had a 6th grade win manifestation. But that didn't faze him at all, and at that time, the said person Yu Long visited him in private, outside of the academy. As a favor for Li Luo teaching him martial arts in the past, he informed Li Luo that Song Yun was paying him a high price for defeating him. Thus, Li Luo should get away before the fight starts, and if Li Luo was able to defeat him instead, then he must act as though Li Luo had inflicted a heavy injury to him, which would let him get the compensation money from Song Yun Feng. Hearing it, Li Luo was really dumbfounded by his shamelessness. Li Luo understood that he should be careful of Song family, as their families were hostile to begin with. Soon in the afternoon, Li Luo was expectedly matched with Yu Lang. Li Luo was defensive and Yu Lang was offensive, and Yu Lang seemed to be suppressing Li Luo. Then Li Luo started his attack, and they were evenly matched, but Li Luo was just using an intermediate manifestation art, whereas Yu Liang was using an advanced art. Then when Yu Lang was about to go all out, Li Luo used his water snake art to bind his legs to trip him, and then sent him flying out of the arena. After he won the battle, he was again notified that he was going to fight against another bad guy, but this time, it was Song Yun himself. Li Luo at this time suspected if Song Yun had bribed the Nanfeng Academy's teacher to set matches as he wished. This time, Luo Li was a bit perplexed, as Song Yun Feng was not only an 8th level beginner rank, but also had a 7th grade Red Eagle manifestation to base with. And the 7th rank was only 2 grades shorter than the 9th ranked manifestation of Jiang Ching. Li Luo was behind all aspects when compared to Song Yun. The next day Li Luo met Qing Er, who asked if he had made any plans to defeat Song Yun. Li Luo then said that he would just surrender. Hearing it, Qing Er praised his choice and said that with his talent, he would soon be able to surpass Song Yun. She then apologized and admitted that this incident could be connected to her. Li Luo nodded, but said that she was just a small factor. The main reason was the recent disputes between Song and Luo Lan family. Qing Er nodded and said that if that was the case, then Song Yun might not even let him surrender that easily. When the match of Li Luo started, the surrounding crowds became really excited, as it was a match between 2 famous individuals. The match started with Song Yun insulting Li Luo's parents to provoke him. It was truly a dance of ice and fire. When Song Yun used his advanced art, Li Luo also used his advanced art, water mirror that reflects opponents' power back to them. But this time, his water-bound mirror was not purely made by water, but also by light, which made Song Yu feel a heavy rebound in the previous attack. It was the result of last night's research, as he found a new way to improve his water mirror art with another light-related advanced art. After the experiment was successful, Li Luo named it the Holy Water Mirror. Song Yun then tried even more. He tried with his sharp eagle claw instead of his blunt fist, but the result was surprisingly the same. Sharp weapons were the biggest weakness of the water mirror, but instead of cutting the mirror shield, it felt like he was cutting on his own body. Then Song Yun got an idea, and thought that since it was a very advanced art, Li Luo, with his 6th level of beginner rank, wouldn't last for long, and would soon be exhausted from heavy energy use. Thus, he began to stall for time, as he kept doing the same thing again and again, and waited for Li Luo to become exhausted. Just as he was about to succeed after Li Luo became exhausted, his hand was caught by the teacher as he said that the time was up. It turned out that it wasn't just Song Yun that was trying to stall for time. Thus, the final result of the battle became a draw. When leaving, Li Luo told Song Yun that Song Yun wouldn't have any more chances to fight him head-on after missing the chance in this battle. With that tie, Li Luo secured his spot as one of the top 20 who could take the entrance exam of Xuan Academy. And surprisingly, Zhao Kuo, Li Luo's friend, also made it into the top 20. After that, Nanfeng Academy headmaster announced a holiday before the final entrance exam took place. Li Luo, of course, didn't waste his time during the holidays. He again emptied out the few bottles of holy water that Miss Wei gave him by selling some of the business of Lulan district. But he still would need another batch of holy water to upgrade his manifestation to 6th grade. And recently, Miss Wei was hiding from Li Luo as she was afraid Li Luo would bankrupt her and make her beg in the streets. No choice. He went to the medicine hall of Li Luo City, where he found out that the medicine hall of the Song family was producing a higher quality of first-grade holy water than their own medicine hall. Miss Wei suspects that Song family has hired an expert to raise the quality of the holy waters. He was also told that Zhuang Yi was causing trouble every day, but they had no way to get rid of him since forcefully firing him would cause the alchemists in the medicine hall to rebel, and not to mention the traitor Pei Hao was backing him. Suddenly a guy came in and told them that Zhuang Yi was gathering all the alchemists in the medicine hall. Thus they rushed in and saw Elder Zheng from the headquarters too, who asked Yan Lin about the recent bad performance of first-grade alchemist section. Then she told him about the lack of medicinal supply from Zhuang Yi, which caused another debate to unfold. Then Elder Zheng told them that they would be testing the abilities of Yan Lin and Zhuang Yi to decide the owner of the first-grade alchemist room. Li Luo agreed and said he would be representing the first-grade alchemy students from Yan Lin's faction. Yan Lin was shocked, and when she got back, she asked Li Luo if he could really beat the first-grade disciple from Zhuang Yi, as they all knew Li Luo wasn't even a 1-month-old alchemist. Li Luo confirmed and said that this was the only way to rightfully take over the medicine hall. But Yan Lin said that even if Li Luo was able to produce 60% efficient holy water, he could only produce so much, and it would be impossible to make them in batches. But Li Luo then showed them a crystal water, which was just his water element and light element mixed together. She was surprised since it was a pure essence which was extremely rare to find in nature. She asked the location where Li Luo found this, and said that the pure essence would increase the purity of holy water by a large margin regardless of the skills of the alchemist. Li Luo never thought that just a bit of mixture of light and water elements could have such a miraculous effect. They thought that it must be Li Luo's parents who left him with this pure essence treasure. Li Luo then asked if he could get some more grade 5 holy water. Miss Wei was disappointed hearing that, but Li Luo said that it would be the last batch. Thus Miss Wei agreed, and told him that she would sell 2 more shops to buy the holy waters. The next few days, Li Luo spent half of his time cultivating and the other half practicing alchemy. He was able to create 1 bottle of first-grade pure essence a day. And when Li Luo was trying to upgrade his water and light manifestation to the 6th level, his cultivation improved first and reached the 7th level, along with his manifestation grade reaching 6th grade. The next day, good news came, as they were able to produce double the quantity with way higher quality than previously. So much so that even the Golden Dragon Treasury contacted them and offered prices higher than the market price. Thus, Li Luo and Miss Wei went to the Golden Treasury and met Qing Er. Qing Er then told them that Song family also came to the Golden Treasure House upon receiving the news of Golden Treasury being interested in Luo family's holy water's efficiency. She then told Li Luo that if Luo family could offer higher efficiency in their holy water, then they would surely be chosen instead of the Song family. When he went to the room, he met Song Yun, who said that the Luo family wouldn't be able to compete against the Songs in the purity of the medicine. Li Luo didn't say anything else, just reminded Song Yun about last battle they fought. Then he saw Song family head, who was dissatisfied seeing Li Luo's appearance. And to the surprise of Song family head, Miss Wei opened the box of holy water samples. Upon opening it, everyone was surprised by its shining lights, and was sure that these bottles had 60% purity. But Song family head said that these bottles were easy to produce if a 4th-grade alchemist tried to make a 1st-grade holy water, and said that it would be impossible to have a consistent supply of these in the future. But Li Luo promised Golden House that if they made a deal with Luo family, then they would get a consistent supply of these with over 60% efficiency. Thus manager Luo had no choice but to accept the deal as he apologized to Song family head, saying the Golden House is strict in its business. Thus, the Song family head left, disappointed. Then, Qing Er congratulated him, but told him that Li Luo should focus more on the entrance exam of Xuan Academy than taking care of the Luo family's business. In the Song family's carriage, Song Yun asked his dad, who was the Song family head, if he really believed that the Luo family could produce the goods constantly. The Song family head said that he was not sure, but when his daughter comes to Nanfeng City, she would surely be able to produce much higher quality with her skills. He also said that he would be visiting the governor soon, and would be bringing him along. Thus, he should get acquainted with Shi Kang, the governor's son from Dongyuan Academy. In the Luo Medicine Hall, there was a meeting going on to announce the results of both Zhuan Yi's faction and Yan Lin's faction. Everyone was surprised when they heard that Yan Ling was able to strike a deal with the Golden Dragon Treasury with 60% tempering power. But Zhuang Yi again refused to believe in the facts and said that these first-grade holy waters must have been produced by third-grade alchemists instead of first-grade alchemists. But then, Miss Wei and Li Luo showed and tested the holy waters in front of their eyes and proved that this was indeed made by just first-grade alchemists. And if they could continue to produce this, then they would become the sole seller of first-grade holy water in the city. But Zhuang Yi wasn't convinced yet. So, Li Luo asked Zhuang Yi and Elder Zheng from the HQ to look at the live process of making the first-grade holy waters by Yan Lin's students. After they saw through the glass window, Elder Zheng was able to confirm that it was indeed possible to make a mass supply of this holy water. Thus, Elder Zheng finally reselected Yan Lin as the final president of the Luo Medicine Hall. In the city governor's house, Song family patriarch met the governor, and the governor gave advice to the Song family head about how to seize the properties of Luo family. Song Yun also met the pink-haired Shikang, known as the governor's son. Shikang said that he was unsure if he could beat Qing Er from the Nanfeng Academy in the entrance exam, and also said that the governor's house has conflict with the Nanfeng Academy's headmaster. Thus, if the Song family further wanted to get help from the governor's house, then at least they should make the Nanfeng Academy lose in this entrance exam of Xuan Academy. On the second day, Li Luo and the others were brought by the instructors to the White Spirit Garden, where they met top students from other academies as well. He then heard about the geniuses that were going to take part in the competition. Lu Qinger, who was at 9th rank with 7th grade manifestation, and Shikang, the governor's son, who was also at 9th grade. He was pondering how he could win with his meager 7-3 level cultivation. When Li Luo was thinking of getting out of this predicament, another bad news came as Zhao Kuo was kidnapped by someone called Zhong Fu. Thus, Li Luo immediately went to the scene with the supervisor and showed Zhong Fu, who was holding Zhao Kuo. Thus, supervisor told Zhong Fu to stand at the podium for 3 hours straight, and if he did any more tricks, then he would be disqualified. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Shikang was informed that Zhong Fu got caught and was being punished. But he told everyone who was with him not to let the absence of Zhong Fu stop their plan of pulling down Nanfeng Academy, and they discussed how to stop Li Qinger, the first of the Nanfeng Academy, from participating in the exam.